What's up, everybody? It's another live stream with yours truly, the longest reigning wrestling trivia challenge champion in history, and the greatest wrestling trivia mind of all time, the Pennsylvania sensation, Greg Cherry. What's up, everybody? Back with another live stream. Let me fix this. Yes, the champ is here. Thank you, Ken. It's good to be back. What is going on, everybody? Time for another edition of the live stream. Got my Pop-Tarts ready. I'm good to go. Ken, I bet you blushed during the review show when Robbie Vice brought up your name. I actually didn't see the whole review. I'm gonna be honest with you. I checked in right at the end and was listening to it off and on. So I'm not sure what he brought up my name for. If it was for a challenge, then he doesn't know what he's getting in for. Big G in the house. What's up, my fellow Steelers fan? Hoping football happens as normal. I know the draft is happening as normal. They just announced that on ESPN a couple days ago that the NFL is proceeding with the draft, which is fine. I mean, granted, there won't be a whole bunch of people there to boo Roger Goodell, but, the draft is still going to happen, and they just won't have, they probably won't have the people in the back, accepting the jerseys and whatnot. But it's okay. Can Big G correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Robbie Vice tried to have JM admit that Cherry is the better competitor, and he did. And ever since the Iron Man match, Jeff has admitted that. I wonder why. I see this stuff on my screen that freaking there's an issue with settings, output. Oh, that's probably why. So let me ask you guys: are you seeing is it delaying a lot? Can you hear me okay? I wonder if I have to fix an issue. What's up, Matt? How you doing? I wonder if it's just an issue with how my stuff is streaming. Well, probably because I have this up. It's probably not helpful. I'm talking to myself. I do that a lot. Let me pull up. Let me pull this up on my phone. Maybe it'll help with the stuff. Might not. I don't know. Ring crew, what's up? The image is slow. Okay. It is delaying. I wonder if there's a setting that I have to do with my live streams that I don't have something set correctly. And I can't exactly fix it in the midst of it without shutting the stream down and restarting it. But if it's really bad, I might have to do that. Output. I mean, that may be part of the problem. Am I frozen? Can you guys hear me still? Okay. I see myself moving a little bit. It's a little delayed, but it's okay. Anyway, I think we got it all good now. We'll continue. I'll just have my phone in front of me like this. It's fine. So, it might be my issue too. It might be a stream issue on my end, but I think we're okay now. I think we got it now. So, yeah, it's looking way better on my end. So what's up, guys? I know WrestleMania is coming up next week, and that being said, I want to do a live stream Saturday before WrestleMania. So the WrestleMania pre-show is going to be Saturday because of the 2 nights of WrestleMania. Jess, my poker buddy's in the house. What's up, Jess? So my WrestleMania live stream's gonna happen Saturday at 3. I'm not sure if they announced what time the pre-show started. I think it's starting at 5. That's when it typically starts, but with all this ridiculous stuff with it being in the PC, I'm not sure. But it should be a good time. Should be a good time. I'll hope to get a few more spins of the wheel right here. Let me just take a drink, because in case I have to do any entrances, I should probably hydrate. $10 donation to the Super Chat or to the Streamlabs on the screen. Either one is good. All money transfers the same, so it's okay. So let's see. Pre-show's at 6 both nights. Okay, well that's good. I might want to have it here just so I have the chat right in front of me. Because when I stream it on my laptop, I think that was a problem. It was causing lagging issues. So, WrestleMania is going to be bland, not awful, just bland, Ken says. I mean, it's going to be interesting. We're all going to watch it. Let's face it. We're going to watch it just to see what happens. And if the matches are good, so be it. It's going to be hard to judge based on the fact that they're all going to be in an empty arena, but it's the times we live in. Ken says, don't be surprised if Rousey returns when WrestleMania comes to LA. That's possible. I can see that happening. Jess, you can't see me. Yeah, Jericho did a live stream last night. I checked out a few minutes of it. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of it, just like the opening few minutes. So I didn't get to see the whole thing. I wanted to, but it was I just didn't. Hold on. I didn't see a ton of it. If it was good, which I'm sure it was, because it was Jericho being entertaining, I'm sure it was great. But it's not one of those things I got to see a whole lot of. But it seemed like it was going to be a good time. I had a game night last night, like a Jackbox game night, which I might bring that to the stream. I might just do a stream for you guys. If you follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/PennSenGaming, PENNSEN Gaming, all one word. Then you guys could join me for some Jackbox games. That might happen in the future. I'm not sure, but that'll be something nice to do for the Twitch channel. Domestic Butler, do you think they still do pyro? I doubt it. I don't think the Performance Center has the space to do pyro. So they're definitely not going to do WrestleMania caliber pyro. They're absolutely not going to do that. But they probably will. If they do any pyro, it'll be very minimal, stuff you would see at a house show or something, because I don't know how tall the ceilings are on the PC, but you want to make sure it's pretty well ventilated, because it's not a big space. Jeff, good afternoon. Not Meacham, it's different Jeff. Big fan of SmackDown. Well, SmackDown's been doing okay in the PC. They're trying to get more matches to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen after WrestleMania. They might have some stuff taped after that, but it's going to be, they're going to be really hard pressed to start doing shows again. it's a really, really weird time for wrestling right now. Big G asked him, what do you think of Matt and Brody Lee in AEW? I think they'll be good fits. I think we'll be able to see Brody Lee do a lot of what Luke Harper was unable to do in WWE. So Brody Lee being in AEW, being the Exalted One of the Dark Order, should be able to do him wonders and should be able to elevate the Dark Order in the same breath. They're getting to the point, though, where they're going to have so many people on the roster that they're going to introduce, or they're going to have to introduce, a new singles championship. Whether you can't really call it the Intercontinental because that's a blatant ripoff United States too. So you'd have to call it. I call it the North American, but NXT has that too. So what do you call it? I don't know. I don't know what you call it. Ken, I really mark for Brody's calm delivery. Kind of reminds me of Jake in a way. Well, Jake's there too, so I'm sure there's some coaching going on. Domestic Butler was thinking Goldberg may get Pyro. Yeah, Pyro's a big part of Goldberg's entrance, so he may get his. I doubt too many other people get theirs, though. Or like something special for Mania. I doubt that happens. Ken says, you might disagree with me, but fan reactions may either make or break the show. Really depends on the match quality, because with The Rock and Mankind, and I know I use this example, but it's really the only one I have to go off of, other than the Angle Sting one and Impact. But if the match is good enough, if the match is entertaining enough, you don't really need the crowd reaction. You just have to be able to keep people engaged. And it might actually help some of the wrestlers who won't get like the boring chants or like the dead crowd stuff. It's like they can actually be entertaining and we can judge them like, what's the word I'm looking for? Objectively. You can judge them objectively without the opinion of the crowd to sway you in any way. Ken's asking Big G, do you think Vince is a moron for trying to make Gallows a hillbilly type character? Are you talking about now? Or are you talking about his Festus days? Okay, all right. You answer that later. William, do you think Jake Hager could be built as an AEW Brock-esque equivalent, especially after his MMA career? I don't know if people will take Jake Hager that seriously as Brock Lesnar. You would have to have him, first of all, he's a lackey for Jericho in the Inner Circle. So the fact that you have him as like that bodyguard type, the fact that you don't have him on his own, just like running through people, you can't really compare him to Brock Lesnar because they're booked completely differently. If Hager was on his own and destroying people, possibly. But the fact that he's with Jericho and he's not seen as big as Jericho, then he won't have that opportunity to break out unless he leaves the Inner Circle, in my opinion. Please mention your ideal booking if Punk joins AEW. Well, we've seen Punk and Jericho. I watched that live at WrestleMania a few years ago. Him and Omega might be entertaining. I'm trying to think of like dream matches in AEW we could see. Because we've seen Punk and Moxley in WWE. So that's not like a huge like thing. Is it like people he hasn't faced? I don't know. And I also don't really see Punk going to AEW at all. And I'm covering my mouth just so you don't see me eating because that's rude. Oh, you meant Harper. Vince tried to make Harper a hillbilly type character. Well, you figure with the whole Wyatt family thing that that's kind of what they were. Now, I have no idea what they're doing with Eric Rowan because they killed that whole like spider gimmick or whatever. So I have no idea. As the worm turns, do you think, or excuse me, do you believe the whole Matt Hardy disappearing act on Dynamite hurt AEW? Um, you mean like the teleporting thing? No. Um, and Jericho, for the little bit I was on the live stream, I caught this part. That Jericho said that that was put together about an hour before the show. Like they filmed that part, and they had a half hour to do all of that, and then edit that, and then get it on the air. So they only had about an hour or two to shoot, edit, and like air it. So props on them for being clutch in that time frame. Because speaking as somebody who has gone live for television shows, not just this, but like who has gone live for like over the air television stuff, it is very difficult to edit something that quick, get it up to your editing booth, and make sure it airs live in the right time frame. I used to do that with the Luck of the Draw game show back when I was in college. I would spend time editing, make sure it got up to the editing booth by 7:30 on a Tuesday, and it would air. And there were sometimes I cut it close. So props on that, because that's something that a lot of people won't understand. They'll be like, oh, yeah, I guess that's cool. It's like you don't know how much work actually goes into that, especially like the editing and like all that stuff. So, no, I don't think so. Domestic Butler with a $1.99 super chat. Appreciate it. Don't forget, guys, you always have the option. If you want, $10 super chat. You can get a spin of the wheel Pensen. You can watch me sing. You can watch me dance. You can get a t-shirt off my Teespring store, and I'll link you to that. Realistically, I should. I'm going to type it in the chat right now, just in case anybody goes for those spins, that if they win it, they can pick one of the shirts. Whoops. They can pick one of the shirts from that link. I don't know if it'll pop up as like a clickable link, but you can type that in your browser if you want. Ken's asking, is Christian legitimately retired? Yeah, he hasn't wrestled in 6 years. Christian has... one second. I'm sending this to like a group of 200 people if they want to join in. There we go. Trying to get more viewership. So, yeah, Christian hasn't wrestled a match since 2014, since right before Mania 30. Because he was supposed to... His last match was actually a victory to get a shot at the United States Championship? It's either United States or Intercontinental, one of the two. I'm not sure which one it was, honestly. But it was the number one contender spot to get the championship shot. He won it, but he never had the shot because he got concussed and then retired. William, do you agree the way Christian won the World Heavyweight title by spitting on Randy's face was absolutely the worst championship booking? Oh, absolutely not. That was brilliant. The fact that he pissed Orton off so bad to the point where Orton got disqualified was brilliant heel work. He basically trapped Orton, the babyface, into doing something stupid, and Christian won the World Heavyweight title as a result. For Money in the Bank 2011, one of the best pay-per-views WWE's done in probably their entire history. Absolutely brilliant booking. I loved it personally. Um, Edge versus Christian, AJ versus HBK, and Steve Austin versus CM Punk. All would be good matches to see. AJ versus Shawn would be fantastic. Because Shawn can still go. From what we saw at Crown Jewel, even though that match as a whole wasn't fantastic, Shawn was the shining star of it. Easy. Um, okay, one second. Okay, whatever. Um, as the worm turns, this is a new generation that knows better. I really think that ruined a great promo between Jericho and Hardy. Um, don't look into it too much. Matt Hardy's supposed to be like this. I don't want to say omniscient character because that's not what he is, but he's like this mystical character um, that is just over the top ridiculous. And it's a character that you shouldn't take seriously, like, oh yeah, he's going to be world champion because he's the best athlete. He's there for the entertainment purposes, let's be honest. Um, who is the champ? Yeah, that's me. I'm the Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion. If you're new here, that's perfectly fine. Or if you're asking who the AEW champion is, that's Moxley. Am I frozen again? Or no? Go live. There. Okay, I'm fine. All the gyms are closed. I want to have a Greg Cherry-like figure. Well, I'm still working on it. I've lost a little bit of my gut when I was going to the gym. But I'm still working on it. Once the gyms are reopened again, I'll be able to go back and work on my cardio a little bit more. Domestic Butler, what could be the best WrestleMania main event match that's never happened in history that should have happened? It's never happened at Mania, or that's a match that has never happened. Hogan Austin's a good choice. Rock and HBK is another good choice. Because the most part, Hogan and Austin, we got to see in the 3-on-2 handicap match. That was pretty much the only time Austin and Hogan ever interacted in a match against each other. Let me see. I think I missed some comments. Thoughts on Strowman winning the title at WrestleMania? You know, Strowman probably, this is probably the best thing that could have happened for Braun. Strangely enough. Because I don't think he was going to have a match on the show. Unless he would have been in a battle royal or something. But I don't think he was going to have a match at the show at all. And now, I didn't watch SmackDown, but I'm pretty sure he's inserted into the Universal title match now that Roman's not doing it. So this could be the best thing for Braun, actually, strangely enough. Report Card Radio. Which two superstars did Christian defeat for the ECW Championship? Jack Swagger and Tommy Dreamer. Hogan, never liked him, never will. Same with Triple H. Triple H did help Hogan win the belt. Well, Hogan beat Triple H for the belt. Taker really helped Hogan win the title. How far back am I? Yeah, I got that answer. All right, so hydrate up again. Christian 2005 was a dirty, trash-talking heel cheered by the fans. Christian in 2005 was awesome. Anybody who says otherwise is wrong. I love Christian. Christian's always been good. Very underappreciated. Domestic Butler. Doesn't Goldberg hurt everybody he wrestles? That's what Bret Hart said if you watch the Stone Cold's show. Okay, let's see if you got this. Survivor Series 2000. Edge and Christian teamed with which tag team to face the Hardys and the Dudleys? I don't. Was it right to censor? I don't feel like it was. I feel because I know Irie was the women's champion. I feel like God or Goodfather and Bull were the tag champs at the time. I think the four of them faced off against each other at Armageddon, if I remember correctly. Oh, it was. Okay, it was Buchanan and Goodfather. Cool. Domestic Butler. I just want to know who raised the briefcase in the Austin ladder match for the power of the company. I'm still waiting. Yeah, it's been 21 years, and nobody's answered that. It's probably going to be one of those things, along with who drove the Hummer, that we're just never going to know. What makes you think leads to the horrible booking that WWE does nowadays? I really don't know. I feel like NXT still has solid booking. Raw and SmackDown, for whatever reason, are booking like Woods and Breeze do in GM mode. Booking the same matches every week and just hoping the show gets better. I miss the days where people wrestled people that they weren't in a feud with, and storylines could progress with like the person they were in a feud with interfering or like coming out after the match or something like that. Or matches just happening because like they don't need a reason to happen, but they're happening. They're not progressing a feud or something like that. But having the same people in a feud wrestle each other every week does not help anybody. You can't build storylines. It's like, oh, they keep winning, or this guy, or they keep splitting wins. It's like, you can't build feuds that way. And it drives me nuts, and I'm going to get on my soapbox here. As you see, one of the shirts you can get off the Teespring store is my Heinz Ketchup shirt. And it's something Corey Graves has brought up on After the Bell. Like, we don't need to see rematches all the time. You can build feuds without the same people wrestling each other every week. Because by the time you get to the pay-per-view, you've already seen it 4 or 5 times. Why would we want to see a match that we've already seen on a pay-per-view or WWE Network Special, whatever they're called now? Why would we want to see those? Why would we want to see the same match on a Network Special that we've seen on Raw or SmackDown 17 times already? Why would we want to? You get Raw and SmackDown on free TV. Why would you want to see the same thing? It drives me insane. Report Card Radio is asking about which pay-per-view did Mongo McMichael take the ultimate spear from Goldberg. Rift ranted about rematches too. Yeah, it's stupid. Like, if I wanted to watch let's say Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. I could just like record the previous Raw or wait 4 weeks for it to go on the network and then watch it there. Why do I need to see it week after week after week? Are they great athletes? Yes. But do I want to see that same match 27 times? No. When you overkill matches, you make the people, both of the people in those matches, less interesting. Because why would we want to continue seeing that stuff? It's probably a reason why people still want to see Brock Lesnar matches, because Brock only wrestles a few times on pay-per-views. We don't see it very often. And by the time you get there, you want to see that match. Their feud continues without having to wrestle. And yes, I understand Brock's schedule, and maybe that's a bad example. But the fact of the matter is, they build up their feud without having to wrestle each other every week. And people are interested in that feud. Imagine that. It's stupid to me that you have... Let's look at WrestleMania 19, for example. How many times did you see Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho before WrestleMania 19? Did they wrestle each other on Raw every week? No. How many times did you see... Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle was an exception to the rule because that was just a match done to protect Kurt Angle for the time being until WrestleMania. That match did take place on SmackDown like a couple weeks before Mania for the title with the whole Eric Angle switch. That one's different. But how many times did you see Undertaker versus Big Show and A-Train? Or how many times did you see McMahon and Hogan? Or how many times did you see... You've seen Rock and Austin before WrestleMania. But that one actually had a story behind it that The Rock was unable to beat Stone Cold at WrestleMania. Really, ever. The Rock always had trouble beating Austin. So, how many times did you see those matches on Raw or SmackDown? You didn't. They found other ways to build the feud. And that's my point. Yeah, Ken, I did bring up Lesnar Angle. We saw it was just a tease. It was Kurt switched with Eric Angle, tricked him, got the small package, and beat Brock. Yeah. I'm still trying to go back to that answer. My WCW knowledge is kind of iffy. It's there, but it's, well, iffy. Report Card Radio, I didn't forget about you. I'm going to guess Super Brawl in '98. I don't know if I'm right or not, but that's the one I'm going with. It's probably wrong, but that's the one I'm going with. How about they move the King of the Ring tournament to NXT and have the final at WrestleMania with the winner getting to choose to move to Raw or SmackDown with a guaranteed contract? If you're in NXT, do you want to move to Raw or SmackDown right now? I don't think you do. I think people are happy staying in NXT. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. Starcade. Okay. Here's Starcade. Told you my WCW knowledge is kind of fuzzy. Michael Gonzalez, better WrestleMania 17 or 19? In my personal opinion, I thought 19 had the better overall show. People do hail 17 as the best WrestleMania. The only other WrestleMania that I could see beating Mania 17 is 19. Because 19 was such a solid show, had such great matches throughout the card. You kicked off with Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio, which is a fantastic way to kick off the show with the Cruiserweight Championship. You had Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho. You had Hogan and McMahon, which for two guys that aren't like really super athletic, over the top, like technical wrestlers, they put on a good street fight. It was entertaining. You had The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was the second best out of their third WrestleMania matches. You had Brock and Angle. You had Triple H and Booker T, which was a good match. Wrong man won, but is what it is. Such a solid show, start to finish. WrestleMania 19 was. You take out the crap with the Miller Lite catfight girls, which was just terrible filler, and you have probably the best WrestleMania of all time. I think that spot was pretty weak. The women's title match and I say for the Divas era because let's face it, the Divas in the WWE typically were not as good as wrestlers as like the women we see now. It's not really a shot to any of them because there were some, like you had your Trishas, you had your Victorias, you had your Litas, you had your Beth Phoenixes, you had your Melinas, and your Mickey Jameses. But like during that time frame, it wasn't the entire women's roster that was incredibly talented. It was a select few that were up top, and the rest of them were like, don't really need to see them in the ring. But the women's triple threat match between Trish, Victoria, and Jazz was great. It was a great women's title match. Probably one of the best women's matches that WrestleMania had until WrestleMania 22 a few years after that. And then WrestleMania 32's women's match was probably the best women's match of WrestleMania. Anyway. You think Grimes will ever be a North American title contender? Crap. Hold on one second. I gotta do something for my game real quick. Keep discussing amongst yourselves. Go away. Done. Save it, damn it. So, I think I'm going to pull it up on YouTube so I can like read some of the comments too while I'm doing this. Don't forget, you can always do the $10 super chat to get me to spin the wheel, to get me to sing a song, get me to dance, get me to do a wrestler's entrance. I haven't done that for a while, you guys. I was practicing dancing with Alex Wright's theme earlier, and I haven't done it. And yes, I did like the Trish Mickey match at WrestleMania 22. It was probably the best women's title match or the best women's match at WrestleMania until WrestleMania 32. My opinion. Oops. I have to get scores for my one part of the game. WrestleMania 32, even though there was a few botches in the match, still a great women's title match. People put Charlotte and Asuka above it. I disagree. But maybe I'm biased because I always put Sasha Banks matches above everything else. Like I say, Sasha and Bayley is the best women's match I've ever seen. Ever. So, take over Brooklyn, that is. Are we still in the PG era? As far as television ratings, yeah. I was practicing dancing. I was doing the Alex Wright dance. If you want to see me do the Disco Inferno dance or the Alex Wright dance, right here. There's how you can get it to happen. Um, why the hell did they put disco in the NWO? I don't know. Maybe he had some pull with some guys. Because I think he was like in the NWO Elite, wasn't he? Like after they reformed with the white and black and the red and the black. Forgot I had to do this. Whoops, diddle. Yeah, it was NWO. I thought it was. It was just so weird to see Disco Inferno wearing a red and black NWO shirt, and you're like, wow, he has no place in there whatsoever. Oops. Yeah, Ken definitely knows about the wheel. Um, for anybody who's never done it before, a super chat at $10 or a Streamlabs at $10. I apologize if I'm like skipping a little bit. I have it on my computer again. I'll be taking it off here shortly. But I forgot about something I had to do for my WWE Champions game. I'm like a big deal in this faction now. There we go. Yeah, Disco was run back. He was not in the like B team that was led by Stevie Ray. For anybody who remembers that, I remember watching the Battle Royal where it's like, the winner becomes the leader of the white and the black, and Stevie Ray won it. It was like, okay, whatever. It was so weird that they had so many factions, and then you had to throw in the LWO in there too, the Latino World Order led by Eddie, and then Rey Mysterio got in there. Quasi Juice Guerrera, as Chris Jericho would call him. Vincent used Disco as the next lower level super. You're saving your super chat for next week. Well, that's fine if you want to do that. Saving it for the big WrestleMania live stream, that's fine. I do want to bring up that I was going to save the surprise until you saw me, but I am probably going to appear on a No DQ show this week. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I'm leaving that out there. And no, I will not be on my phone. This is completely different. But I will be participating on that. Oh, do you play WWE Champions, Ken? How do you buy a certain superstar when the game asks you to pick a brawler or whatever? Do you have to buy a crap ton of credits? You have to buy loot pools, is what you have to do. You have to buy loot pools, and then you have to it's basically a lot of luck. Um, as to whether or not you get the superstars. Because typically with those big loot pools, especially the Hall of Fame loot pools, which are like $7 a pull, I'm like, I'm not doing that for like 3 shards. Get the fuck out of here. Um, it's like you need 2,000 shards. Spend $7 and get 5. It's like you're telling me I'm spending $7 for 5 shards of a 2,000 character. I am not dropping $3,000 just to get Hall of Fame Booker T. Sorry, brother. I mean, his character build looks awesome, but I also have a life, and I have a wife, and I have a mortgage, and all that stuff. So, unless your boy hits the lottery, I'm not spending that kind of money. Period. End. Yeah, when it says get, that's the characters that you can get in part of the loot. Um, and they're actually supposed to like have a major update to the game here shortly. Actually, I think it's coming out tomorrow. I have to upload these pictures and then I'll be back here. Um, Better Mania, 23 or 24? 24. If you win the lottery, will you finally do the Sting entrance from the ceiling? Um, yeah, I'll make sure I have cables. I have a high enough ceiling in the thing in the building when I do my live streams. I'll do live streams and I'll have like this complete setup. It's like I won't even need the money at that point, but I probably still do them. Who's Mark Henry's first official match against? Um, the impossibility makes it even more hilarious. Yeah, I don't know exactly how feasible that would be. Um, that's like seeing Cherry doing a Melina entrance. Yeah, that is never going to happen. I don't care how flexible I get at the gym. I like having my scrotum in place, so I am not doing Melina's entrance. Um, will there even be a 2K21? I don't know. 2K20 was about as much as a disaster as the year 2K20. Um, you don't even need a high ceiling, just fall through a table. There you go. If I hit the lottery, I'd probably buy a promotion like NXT. You know what's funny? I actually like my wife and I seriously considered like starting our own wrestling promotion if we won the lottery, and then it like changed to something else, to another like television like production thing, and then it's all. I would like to be involved with wrestling at some point, but I don't know if it's going to be as much of, hey, I'm going to buy my wrestling company, because you figure with all the people I'm paying and probably the little amount of money I bring in, it's not a good idea because I'm a nobody who gives a crap who I am starting a wrestling promotion. You guys might care, but in the general sense of the wrestling community, nobody knows who I am. And that's all that is. All right, now let me shut this down. Go to YouTube. Let's pull this back up on the phone. Okay. So now I won't be having as many skipped thing issues. All right. Yeah, I know. I know. I know it's a skip frames. Blah, 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 blah. WWE should bring WWE games to a company like Capcom. That would be interesting. I don't know if they'd be interested in working with wrestling games, though. Domestic Butler. Who was John Cena's first pay-per-view opponent? Chris Jericho. So if I did hit the lottery, what's the top 10 talents you'd grab? Seidel, Swagger, Punk, Sin Cara. Punk would probably be out of my pay range. I don't know. I would have to look around and see who like the top talents in indie wrestling are. I feel like Jeff Cobb would be a good get. And I'd probably build the company around him because he's solid. And also, the Tour of the Islands is a fantastic finisher. Come on, knock off the skip frames. I'm off the friggin' screen now. Am I back on this? No, I'm not. I'm okay. Problem with wrestling games these days is that they make them too realistic. Yes and no. Because 2K20 has a lot of content in there that's completely unnecessary to have. Like they have like these graveyard arenas and like zombie arenas and stuff like that. It's like, guys, focus on like improving the game and not adding a bunch of stuff that we don't need. Is it cool? Maybe like the first time, but you're not going to like run a whole bunch of matches in there. You're not going to see career mode in there like at all. So who cares? I wish I had the lottery for 500 million. But you have to understand, like, too, I wouldn't just be paying the wrestlers. I'd be paying like the camera crew. I'd be paying the ring guys and sound guys and all that stuff. It's not just the wrestlers. Like, it's not cheap to run a production. Is Retromania out yet, or was that delayed? Because I saw a bunch of stuff with it, but I haven't seen much of anything lately. Of course, I used to see it on Twitter. I don't have Twitter anymore. Was 2K20 garbage, as everyone says? It looks mediocre in every level. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't get it. I saw the reviews. I saw how, like, universally panned it was. I was like, I don't want this game. Because the last couple of installments, I've played a little bit of it, but I got bored with it pretty quickly. And if the game was that terrible, it's like, I don't want to spend $60 or anyone to spend $60 on me for like a Christmas present and get me this game if it's going to be hot garbage. So I got Rocket League instead. Ken says I would have to pay really good writers. No, I'd hire bookers. I don't want writers. I don't want, and this is a thing I've said before on the show, I don't want people writing scripts for wrestlers. If you have the ability to cut a promo, I want you to cut a promo. If you don't, you're either not going to cut promos or you're going to have a manager. Simple as that. If you do not have the ability to cut promos on your own, you're not going to talk. We'll find some other way to use you. It might not be as high up because you got to be able to talk on your own. But I don't want people writing scripts because I don't want everybody sounding the same. I don't want everybody cutting promos like they're Jim from seat 3 in the writer's room. No, I want them cutting promos as themselves. I want people to buy into the characters. I could give a damn less if Jim number 3 in the writing room is getting his vision across. That's not what I want. Nobody cares about Jim in the writing room. Nobody watching the show is like, oh yeah, Jim in the writing room, he did really good. No. It's like the wrestlers are the ones, they're the performers. They have to come across on screen. If you don't care about the performers, you don't care about the show. Simple as that. Domestic Butler, what was Eddie Guerrero's final pay-per-view? No Mercy 2005. Against Batista. On his birthday, ironically enough. Cherry would sign Ricochet. Yeah, I wouldn't mind signing Ricochet. If he wasn't in WWE, yeah, I'd absolutely snag him up. I think it's criminal how much he's getting underutilized. Did you just slam me, Ken? I think I just got owned. What is that? Your knowledge of Impact is like me being successful in a diet. What the? I'd probably have Ricochet be a solid mid carder. I don't know if I push him to the main event, but he'd definitely be up there on the card. Mike Gonzalez says Ricochet has no charisma to be a top talent. That's what I said. Ricochet would be a solid mid card for me. What kind of numbers do you think Punk would want? 52 shows a year, 12 pay-per-views, so 64 days a year. I don't even know if he'd want to be on TV that frequently. You figure he's been out of the wrestling business for 6 years. He probably would want a deal similar to Brock, though. But I don't think anything other than that. Punk is never going to be a full-time wrestler again. I'll just say that. He's never going to be full-time again. All right. So, I have it on the top chat. I think I'm missing some. Easy one for me as an Austin fan. How many WrestleMania matches does Steve Austin have? 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19. 7. Because he didn't compete at 16. Because he was hurt. Ricky Steamboat has no charisma. He's one of the greatest workers. Steamboat was babyface forever. It's one of those things. You have to consider the time frame, too. Would a babyface Ricky Steamboat work in this era? I don't know if he would. People might get sick of him. Because people are fickle. Like the new Daniel Bryan used to say. Um, yeah, Steamboat. People might have got sick of him because it seems like as soon as somebody wins the world championship or somebody wins the championship that they've been fighting for at WrestleMania, they keep it for a long period of time, and then people get sick of them. It's like, oh, great. Oh, he's champion now. Somebody else needs to be champion. It's like, if you support somebody, you're supposed to stick with them, not move on to the next. I've stuck with Sasha Banks through thick and thin, through her 4 Raw women's title reigns that she never had successful defense in, through her women's tag team title reign that ended after like a month and a half, and through her heel turn. It's like, I'm sticking with Sasha the whole way. It's like, I want Sasha to be the champion all the time. Because I think she's the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Personal opinion. Do you think Ric Flair would work in this era? Depends on how long he would have been around. If he was just starting out as like the Nature Boy, I don't know, honestly. Being that he has the legendary status now, like if he were able to make a comeback, people would probably root for him, even though he's 71 years old. But if he was just starting out, I don't know. It depends on how he would be booked. If he started in AEW, probably. But if he started in WWE, I don't know if Ric Flair would have gotten over. Which is terrible if you think about it. It's like WWE writers could potentially kill Ric Flair, like his career, before he even gets going. Ric Flair had the fortunate event to start in the NWA before he started in WWE. Oh, I got another one thing. Have you seen any of the Ruthless Aggression series on the network? Yes, I have. I think I'm behind on an episode or two. How many episodes are there? 6, 7? I think I've only watched 5. But yeah, I've enjoyed the series. I've noticed that there's been some clips of Chris Benoit in there. They don't mention him, but they clearly show him like taking moves in a match. So that's something. Would Charlotte be working with Rick? I don't know. Report Card Radio says Cherry, Judgment Day 2000, who did Eddie defend the European title against in a triple threat match? I believe that was his fellow, I almost said Evolution. It's like, no, that's not right. His fellow Radicals. There you go. Wrong faction. Malenko and Saturn. Domestic Butler. I can't stand Charlotte. She's there by name value only. I mean, she has been there. Like, she got on the main roster. Like, she got on the NXT because of the name value. But she has worked very hard. Give her credit where credit's due. Domestic Butler. I was a big Lita fan in the past. You know what's weird? Lita looks better now than she did when she was wrestling. Like, Lita was attractive when she was in WWE, but, like, after WWE, like, hot damn, Amy. So what else you guys want to talk about? I'm going to be on a No DQ show this week, like I mentioned. Not going to tell you which one. What 2 stipulation matches did Triple H face off against Ric Flair in? If you're talking 2005, it was a steel cage match and a last man standing match. He also, in 2007, had the career-threatening match. Charlotte is a better athlete than Rick. Well, that's true. She's just bland as a personality like Lynch. So nobody's done this yet. You had to unload wood. That's what she said. I don't think they did. Worst Mania, 27 or 32? That one's a tough one. I would say 27. 27 was a one-match show. 27 was Triple H and The Undertaker, and nothing else mattered. Literally. There was nothing else on that show that was redeemable. Maybe Cody Rhodes and Rey Mysterio, but they had a better match the following month. WrestleMania 32 had the women's title match. It had Chris Jericho and AJ Styles. It had Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, and Mick Foley returning to fight off the League of Nations. It had The Rock having his last match. So I would say 27. 27 was a one-match show. And if it weren't for The Undertaker and Triple H, it probably would have been amongst the worst WrestleMania. I mean, it still is amongst one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. But Triple H and Undertaker helped save it from becoming the worst WrestleMania of all time. Punk versus Orton, too. Yeah, I did kind of forget about Punk and Orton. That was a good match. Nowhere near what Hunter and Taker was. But yeah, I thought 32 had a slight edge over it. Edge versus Del Rio was okay. It was nothing to write home about. It was Edge's last match, which we didn't know at the time until, the Rumble this year. How many SummerSlam matches did Shawn Michaels have? Oof. Yikes. You would think as a Shawn Michaels fan I would know this. But I'm getting stuck on how many he had as a member of the Rockers. Just going from when he debuted. Didn't appear until 2002, 3, 04. No, he wasn't at 04. No, he didn't have a match at 04. 2005 against Hogan. 2006 is DX. 2007, he didn't have a match in 2007. 2008? You have a match in 2008? No, he did the segment in 2008, where he's feigned his retirement. 2009, he had his last SummerSlam match. I'm going to say 14. I might be a little high with that, but I'm guessing 14. because I'm assuming he wrestled every single WrestleMania or SummerSlam um, as a member of the Rockers. Again, I might be high on the Shawn Michaels number. All right. Name 3 people who had their ankles snapped by Angle in WWE. Um, is it 14? Was I right? See, I thought you knew the answer. You were giving me the question. Now I have to check. Hold on. SummerSlam match history. There's 1. Okay. I'm seeing different reports. I'm seeing 11 for one of them. I've seen somewhere said 11, 11 or 12. I think I counted every single SummerSlam that he could have possibly wrestled at from 89 to 97, which would have been 9, and then he wrestled more upon his comeback. You might be closer, Domestic Butler. I might have gone way too high. I think it's 11. It's more than 9, but I think it's 11. You're going to make me look through this. Okay, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Results. 1990, Shawn Michaels wrestled then. I don't think he wrestled at 88. I might be wrong. He did not. Okay. So wrestled at 89 and 90, so that's 2. Did not wrestle at 91. Wrestled at 92. He wrestled at 93. So that's 4. He might not have wrestled at 94. I didn't think about the fact that he was in the corner of Diesel. He didn't actually have a match. Wrestled at SummerSlam 95. I know that for a fact because I was there. 96, he was in the main event. So that's 6. I don't think he was refereeing for 97. So 6. And he didn't wrestle till 2002. So 6, 2002, 2003. Didn't wrestle at 04. Wrestled at 05 in the main event. Wrestled at 06 as a member of DX. 2007, he didn't compete. 2008, he retired. So yeah, it is 11. It is 11. Yep. It is absolutely 11 because I figured it out. I forgot that he did not wrestle at 1994 because he was in the corner of Diesel, and I counted 97 even though he was the referee for Taker and Brett. So it was 11 matches they competed in. $11 is the answer. Anyway, now that that's done, hopefully SummerSlam is one of the next big pay-per-views where we actually see fans. I said big pay-per-views. There might be pay-per-views before that. But I'm eating crumbs here. So now that we got off the Shawn Michaels SummerSlam conversation, I way overestimated because I didn't think. I just guessed. But the thing with Wrestling Trivia Challenge is like I wouldn't have that much time to figure it out. Yeah, if that ever comes up, if Jeff ever answers that question, how many matches did Shawn Michaels have at SummerSlam? I'll be like 11. I know that for a fact because I sat here for half an hour and determined it by looking it up. Better Mania, 28 or 18. Mike, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be biased. I was at 28, so I'm kind of biased. I mean, 18 was a good show. 18 was not as good as 17 and 19 on either side of it. It kind of gets overlooked because of Rock Hogan, and it had a good triple threat women's title match too. Triple H and Jericho wasn't going to be able to follow Hogan and Rock. Let's be honest. Some other decent stuff on the show, but 28. That place was electric the entire night, women's match aside. Um, so I want to give away one of these. I want to sing a song for you. I want to dance for you. I want to do an entrance. It's been too long. It's been too long. I feel like it's been months. It's like I had a good streak going there when then football season hit. I was like, I can't do streams anymore because watching Notre Dame football on Saturdays and Steelers football on Sundays. But it was a grueling 30 minutes, but it was nowhere near the hour I did last year with Jeff. What was the bigger match, Cena versus Rock or Hogan versus Rock? Hogan versus Rock was probably the bigger match feel, but there was a big fight feel in the arena for Cena and Rock also. Hogan and Rock will be remembered as the better match, but there was also a big fight feel for Cena Rock because it was Rock's first singles match since Backlash 2003. Because you figure he was in a tag match at WrestleMania 20. He was in a tag match at Survivor Series 2011, but he didn't have a singles match until 2012. Jess says she'll do it, but she doesn't know how to get you to spin the wheel. So if you're on YouTube, there should be like a $sign thing where you can send a super chat, Jess. You can send a message, and you can also send $10 that way. If you have PayPal, you can go do it on streamlabs.com/luckofthedraw. The link's right there. Either way, you can get the money to me. And for any multiple of $10, you get multiple spins. So if you send 20, you get 2. If you send 30, you get 3. I haven't had anybody send the multiple spins for a while. Used to have some of the reaction room people do it, but so you can do it that way, Jess. The Revolution. Good old Pittsburgh's own Shane Douglas. I wouldn't call myself a big fan of his, referring to Cena. Shane Douglas was okay. Yeah, Shane Douglas was not the best wrestler Pittsburgh ever produced. Because you figure we had Bruno, we had Angle. So, there you go. When you have Bruno Sammartino and Kurt Angle, you kind of look at Shane Douglas and like, what happened? Not that Shane Douglas wasn't a big part of ECW during its entire inception, but when you have wrestlers like Bruno Sammartino, who is still the longest reigning WWE champion in the history of the company, and probably will forever be, and you have Kurt Angle, who's probably one of the greatest athletes WWE's ever seen, then good old Dean Douglas doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I'm sure Shane's a nice guy, but he's got stiff competition when it comes to the best wrestlers in Pittsburgh. Yeah, Bruno Sammartino was from Pittsburgh. And actually, so was Larry Zbyszko, who he trained. So, Pittsburgh's got multiple WWE Hall of Famers. Now, Sammartino was born in Italy, but he moved to Pittsburgh. But you better believe we're going to claim him. One of the greatest wrestlers in the history of the industry. So, what else is going on? Get me back live. I'm trying to help somebody right now. 1 second. I did see the comment about Zabisco though, and I kind of took this his like bow thing from him. Domestic Butler with another $1.99 super chat. Appreciate it, man. What was the most disappointing WrestleMania? For me, it was 26. Are you talking about the worst WrestleMania of all time, or a WrestleMania that was built up so well but ended up being like complete garbage? Because you could put 33 in that conversation. Other than the Hardys' return, what was memorable about WrestleMania 33? Like, positive. Ken, if you're talking about the Benoit episode of Dark Side of the Ring, I have not seen it yet. It is on my to-do list, but I have not seen it yet. And WrestleMania 26 was all right. Because you have to forget, or you have to remember, 26 was also the last WrestleMania to have the Money in the Bank ladder match. Which, yes, it was won by Swagger, who took 15 minutes to unhook the briefcase. But took him longer to unhook the briefcase than it did to cash it in. 26 wasn't terrible. 33 wasn't great. Let me put it this way. 33's best match was the opening match. AJ Styles and Shane McMahon. Fight me. It was the best match on the card. The first match on the card was the best match on the card. The rest of the show, other than the Hardys' return, another disappointing WrestleMania. You could say 21 because the end of the show fell off a cliff. After Angle Michaels, the entire show just took a nosedive. So I would probably say WrestleMania 21 because if Cena and JBL would have been what it was at Judgment Day, and Triple H versus Batista would have been better, and Big Show Akibono would have just not been on the card anywhere, WrestleMania 21 probably would have been one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. But the fact that the last 3 matches made the show plummet takes away from it. Am I going live every Sunday now? Won't let you log in, Jess. 16 was weird. The Triangle Ladder match was probably the highlight of the show with the Hardys, Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. The main event was decent, Angle Benoit Jericho was great. The rest of the show was just weird, though. It's just really weird. I mean, Teddy Long might have liked that show, but because there were a bunch of tag matches. There was at least 4 different tag matches on the show, triangle ladder match included. Then you had, I'm trying to remember the card because it was like D'Lo and the Godfather versus Bull Buchanan and the Boss Man, whatever. I used to watch this like all the freaking time, and why can't I think of like the order of the card? Because Al Snow and Blackman versus TNA was 3rd. What was 2nd? Because it wasn't a singles match. Oh, it was the Hardcore Battle Royal. That match was fun. Then you had the tag match with TNA, and I feel like the Triangle Ladder match was after that. And then you had the cat fight. Then you had the triple threat for the Intercontinental and European. Then you had the tag match with Rikishi and Kane versus DX. And then I think you had the Fatal 4-Way. I think. The main event wasn't bad. It had a nice little swerve at the end. But it was not a great overall WrestleMania. And it was one of the last WrestleManias they did in like a small building. And WrestleMania 17 was in a stadium. And they've done stadiums. Well, no, because you had 20 in Madison Square Garden. Ken says the hardcore match was entertaining, but was just there. I think it was one of the better matches on the show. Not like as far as like technical match quality, but just like entertainment purposes. I like the hardcore battle royal personally. I would watch it over and over again as far as WrestleMania 2000 matches are concerned. What are your thoughts on WrestleMania 4? I know a lot of people complain about the tournament, but I thought it told a great story. So, WrestleMania 4, it's funny. If you listen to Wrestling Rewind on the Jeff Meacham Network, Jeff and I actually did a watch-along to WrestleMania 4. And I'll say it now like I said it then. It was all about the main event. The rest of the show was hot garbage. I don't know if I put it that way, but WrestleMania 4, Battle Royal, like the first match and the last match were good. After that, it was a train wreck. WrestleMania 4 was not a good WrestleMania, guys. It was not. It was, to say the least. I was glad I finally got to watch it because I wanted to watch the tournament the whole way through. But by the end, I was like, ugh. Thank goodness the last match was DiBiase and Savage. Because I don't know if I could do the rest of this if it wasn't. Let me see something. I want to see something really quick. I did like the Battle Royal. we have a potential super chat coming through, so I'm trying to help get that done. Oh, did I hide the chat? I didn't mean to do that. Come back, chat. If you could have a front row seat to any future WrestleMania in the world, at what venue, where would you pick? I honestly wish they would come to Pittsburgh. Because, yeah, it might be a little chilly, but they've done shows in New York. So they could do a show in Heinz Field. I would love to be front row to a WrestleMania in Heinz Field. I think that would be fantastic. I don't know why they don't. If they're worried about weather, like I said, they've done 2 WrestleManias in New York, New Jersey. So I don't see why Pittsburgh would be that big of a deal to do a WrestleMania in. It kind of opened the door to do that, really. So yeah, I would pick Heinz Field, and I would pick Pittsburgh, personally. There we go. You figured it out, Jess. Good. All right, we got our first $10 super chat. Gonna spin this lovely wheel right here. So let's see what I land on. Am I going to land on a shirt? Am I going to land on something else? We will see. Here we go. Oh boy, truth time. Okay, so what happens here is you answer me, or ask me rather, a personal question, and I answer it. So that's what you get for the spin. Unfortunately, it didn't land on entrance. I was hoping to do that instead. But the question's up to you. So whenever you have that question in mind, send it. Curtis Butler, John Morrison versus the Usos for the tag belts. Is this really legit? Did Vince greenlight this? We won't actually know until WrestleMania hits. When WrestleMania hits, we'll be able to tell this. I don't want to discuss any spoilers or anything because we don't know for a fact what they're going to do. I feel like, I don't know. This might just be people spitballing stuff because I don't know who actually knows all this stuff. I really don't. Actually, Jess, if you don't send a question, I'll spin the wheel again, see if I can get something else. What kind of question? Any personal question you want to ask me. It does not have to be wrestling related. As you see, guys, there's lots of stuff on the wheel. Jess was the first one to spin today. So if you want to take a shot at winning a Teespring t-shirt, you want to watch me do an entrance, you want to watch me dance like an idiot or sing very terribly, there you go. Do you think after WrestleMania, WWE decides to take a few weeks off? They really should. They really should. Because what good would it do WWE to keep running shows? Because they're not going to be able to do I don't know, what's next? Backlash? Or am I thinking of the old pay-per-view schedule? What is even next? Extreme Rules? See, WWE switches the pay-per-view schedule around so much, I don't know what's next. And I think it's silly of them to keep recording shows. And realistically, USA should have to fill that programming with something else. It'll be the first time Raw hasn't aired on a weekly show since whenever. Like WWE should really just stream Raw or some other content on the network because they have that to do. They don't need to put that stuff on USA. I understand they get the money and stuff from it, but if they don't have the content to show, you're going to waste people's time for 3 hours with that stuff. Well, Ken, I can answer you. Jess has not played Luck of the Draw yet. That's the plan, as long as we're free to do whatever we want in August. But I answered it for you. Jess. Yeah, she hasn't done the game yet, but I'm hoping to do a big game this summer. Jess, if you don't have a question, I'm going to have to spin the wheel again. Maybe we'll get something else. Your call. I really should offer that as like a one-time respin option. Or I should just take out the truth time thing, but I don't. So, how would you make these empty building shows better? There's not a whole lot you can do to make them look better. Honestly. Because an empty building is not going to look good for a wrestling show. You don't have a question? Okay, I'm gonna spin another time for Jess here. And that's the thing. You only get one respin. I should really add that. It's like if you don't like what you spin, you get one respin. But then you have to like take what you get. Okay, Macho Man impression. So give me a topic and I'll do a Macho Man impression. It says Road Story, but I've covered those. Give me a topic to discuss, Jess, whatever you want, and I'll do it in the style of the Macho Man Randy Savage. So there you go. All right, Domestic Butler, take it easy. Have other wrestlers cheer them on. AEW actually did that, and then somebody came down to them and was like, no, you have too many people out there. It's like, what are they supposed to do then? You know? Yeah, AEW did the whole wrestlers in the stands thing, and like kind of like a sarcastic commentary type of thing from like Cody and Matt Jackson. Big Rocker Johnson, name your 5 dream HBK matches. I would have loved to see him face The Rock. HBK versus CM Punk. Talk to me about how you play poker. Okay. All right, here we go. So Jess is one of my poker buddies we get to see every Tuesday when we're actually able to go out. And so now I'm going to talk to her about how she plays poker as the Macho Man Randy Savage. So here we go. Oh, yeah, Jess, you want to talk about how you play poker? Yeah, well, let me tell you something. You're not as good as Greg Cherry, because I'll tell you what, he's won some tournaments lately. Yeah. But definitely realize that you're not as crazy as some of the people who play there. Yeah, you don't get upset when somebody tells you, hey, I'm playing 7 deuce. Yeah, I'm going to play 7 deuce. I'm going to shove all in. Yeah. I'll tell you something. You want to know who plays 7 deuce? Yeah, his name is Jim. Yeah, he plays whatever he wants. Yeah. And sometimes he gets lucky, but he's not really very good at what he does. Yeah. He's not really good at telling what cards are good and what cards are bad. Yeah, but I'll tell you one more thing. You're a better poker player than a lot of people there. Yeah, but you got to do better to beat the Pennsylvania sensation Greg Cherry. Yeah, ooh yeah, dig it. So there you go. Yeah, Shawn and Savage. I have a headache now from doing that. Savage and HBK might have wrestled a couple times, but like both of them in their prime, that would have been something to see. It would have definitely been something to see. Let's see, HBK versus The Rock, HBK versus Punk, HBK versus Savage. Who else? Shawn versus. We saw Shawn versus Chris Jericho, so that happened. Shawn versus Owen at WrestleMania probably would have been fantastic. Worst and best WrestleMania main event. Worst WrestleMania main event. Hogan versus Sid wasn't great. Orton versus Triple H at 25 was not great. Miz and Cena at 27 sucked. So that's right now the lead. Hogan and Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9 was a cluster. 10 was Brett and Yoko again. That was what it was. 11 was Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow, which again was what it was. 12 was the Iron Man, so we know how good that was. 13 was Sid and Taker. 14 was Austin and Michaels. That was fantastic. 15 was Rock Austin 1. Mania 16 we talked about. Mania 17 was Rock Austin 2, which I just watched on Friday. Mania 18 was Triple H and Chris Jericho. They did what they could with the spots. Mania 19 was Angle and Lesnar, which was awesome. 20 was Benoit, Michaels, and Triple H, which was awesome. Batista and Triple H was 21, which is probably the worst of the matches they had against each other. 22 was Triple H and Cena, which was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. 23 was Cena and Michaels, which their hour-long match on Raw was better. 24 was Taker and Edge. That was good. 25, I went over. That sucked. I just watched. I finally sat down and watched Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker 26 the other day because I was in complete denial. I didn't want to watch the match that Shawn lost to end his career. I finally sat down and watched it. It was good. I got teary-eyed even though it was 10 years after the fact. Shut up. 27's main event sucked. Cena and Miz was a terrible main event. 28 was Rock Cena 1, which that was entertaining. That was good. 29 was Cena Rock 2, which was not as good as 28. Some people say that WrestleMania 29's main event was better than 28's. No, it wasn't. Shut up. 30's main event was awesome. 31's main event was awesome. 32's was predictable. Wasn't bad, but it was just predictable. Roman Taker was kind of a disaster. 34 was Roman Lesnar. Nobody wanted to see that either. It was okay. 35 was the women's main event. And that was decent. So I'd probably say 27. Honestly. Like, Cena Miz was so bad. I wasn't sure what match was considered the actual main event of WrestleMania 2 because there were technically 3 main events. So I didn't even include WrestleMania 2 because that was kind of a cluster event in and of itself. Um, Reigns versus Triple H wasn't great. You guys should rebook the year 1993. We should rebook the year 1995 because other than like like 1995 had, if you think of all the memorable matches that happened in 1995, you had Shawn and Razor in the ladder match at SummerSlam. You had, oh, that's it. 1995 for WWE pay-per-view, if that happened now, they'd be out of business. 1995 WWE was awful. Probably the worst year in company history. And probably why they decided that they wanted to turn the tides from the new generation era to the Attitude Era. Because 1995 WWE was bad, guys. Okay, so I got about have you shot on LT's football performance? I'm surprised that Taylor isn't in the Hall of Fame. I wasn't a big New York Giants fan at the time, so I wasn't super into football when LT played. Um, I wasn't into football till like a couple years after that. So I'm talking about one of my next trivia title defenses. WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre. Yeah, Hogan and Andre. Did I skip over Hogan on? I think I skipped like a bunch of WrestleManias. Hogan and Andre was good for what it was. And it has that memorable moment of Hogan slamming Andre. Another match I just watched the other day. WrestleMania 4 we covered was Savage and DiBiase. Mania 5 was Mega Powers Exploding. That was a good match. 6 was Hogan Warrior. Good match. 7 was Hogan Slaughter. That one was what it was. 8 was Hogan Sid. Yeah, I covered all those. All right, so we've got a couple minutes left. If anybody, yeah, I think Shane is going to win at WrestleMania. If anybody wants to send one more super chat for another wheel spin, they have the opportunity to do that now. I'm going to end the stream here in a couple minutes. But do check out what's coming up this week. You got predictions for WrestleMania coming up this week. What else is on the Noted Q channel? I think you got what's NXT, what's next. Um, you have the No DQ review coming up. So check those out. And I'm sure it's going to be a fun week. Remember, next Saturday, not Sunday, because Sunday is going to be day 2 of WrestleMania. I want to talk about WrestleMania because it's going to be the day of. So Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, the WrestleMania pre-show. I'm going to be doing that. Tell all your friends, tell all your neighbors. I'm going to plug it on the show I'm doing. I can't speak, but I'm going to plug it on the show that I'm doing to hopefully get more people to talk about WrestleMania and get some more spins in because, come on, guys. I'm going to have to oil this thing up if it gets too rusty. But, yeah, I'm going to answer this message and then I'm going to Cena's got to fight all the forms of Bray Wyatt. That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting if he ended up fighting like Wyatt Family Wyatt and Firefly Funhouse Wyatt and the Fiend, and like Husky Harris, and like whatever other things. Favorite SmackDown versus Raw game? Probably 2007. 2007 was a great game. All right, so if there's no other super chats, if there's no other questions, maybe that's what I need to do. I need to bring back. I think they stopped doing the No DQ 24/7 championship. Am I right about that? They stopped doing that, so maybe that's something we need to bring back for the stream. The maybe I need to make a shirt for that too, like the sensational championship, the sensational super chat championship, or something like that. So what do you guys think? Do you think that's something I should implement on my streams? The $5 limit for the sensational super chat championship, as opposed to the 24/7, because then it can only be defended on my streams, and then the title changes hands. Would that be something you're interested in? Owen versus Brett submission match at Mania 11 would have been great. It would have been. It absolutely would have been. So let me know your thoughts on that. Follow me on Instagram at PA Sensation. They did stop that. Okay. So perhaps next stream for the WrestleMania pre-show, I'll introduce the No DQ Sensational Super Chat Championship, which will only be effective on my streams. You can't win it on the review. You can't win it on Aaron's live streams. You can only win it on my streams. Because it's named after me, so there you go. Yes, Ken, you'll be the sensational champion. We'll start it next week. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. If you donate $5 or more, you hold the No DQ Sensational Super Chat Championship. I'll try and keep track of everything to determine how many reigns somebody has. And maybe by the end of the year, I'll give the winner like 5 free spins or something. We'll do something like that. Um, they stopped it because it was getting old. Well, it probably gets old, the fact that they did it for all streams. But if it's just specific to my stream, maybe it'll be more fun. Like you can do Aaron streams and the review streams and whatever else, live streams like the predictions and stuff. You can do that and just super chat whatever you want. But for my streams, there'll be something special. So I think we should start doing that. And Adrian is still bitter because he lost in the first round of the Wrestling Trivia Challenge Championship Tournament, so he can suck one. But other than that, the Sensational Super Chat Championship debuts next week during the WrestleMania pre-show on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll have it. Maybe I'll design something that looks like it. And we'll go from there. So, until next week, until Saturday, or until later this week when you see me on a No DQ live show,